Right, hi. Sorry, I'm really not very good with technology.
I
Cool.
think we got it. Everybody's muted.
Excellent. Yeah, fab. So I've got a list of 10 objections, Scotty. I
Hey,
don't know whether should we just start at the top and work down? Would that be the easiest
yeah,
thing to do?
that works. But first, we're gonna be in the UK in like 5 days. Yeah, and we don't have any bags packed. The kids' bags aren't packed to go to their grandma's. And I finally started. Look at this, Hannah. You're gonna be proud. Look at this. It's like a written out calendar schedule. I'd never do that. So you'd be very impressed. So,
Good. That is exciting.
yes. So
That is really
anyhow,
exciting. I was just saying to the guys actually before you came on, I'm a bit nervous about this lunch at launch because the numbers seem to have shot up to 39 and
holy,
the table's only booked for 20 people.
oh, geez.
We'll trim away the less popular ones.
I know. I didn't look at it. I looked at the list and thought, we need a buffet.
Well, what I'm
buffet.
going to do is I'm going to see if they can accommodate us, but they do platters, so that might be something that we go for. But I don't know how healthy they're going to be. So we'll see what they say. They might be able to do it.
Yeah, let me know. And I just answered a message from Hannah and John. I'm going to skip that flight, and I'm going to catch the train so we can spend all day on Friday instead of travel all day Friday. So you guys know. I just talked to Gabby about that. So, okay. Awesome.
Cool.
Good. Let's hit these objections. Let's do it.
Right.
I just got done doing like a 45-minute call as well, so I'm like, got to catch my breath. You guys know how I get going sometimes.
Good.
I've caught the breath. We're ready.
Well, maybe that's good. Maybe you'll be able to handle these like super quick. You never know. Fab. All right. Okay. So the first one that was on the list, I won't do these I'll just do them in the order that they were on the list then, is I can get workouts free on YouTube.
So can I.
So why would I get BOD if I can get it free on YouTube?
Yeah, I think this one comes down to you as a coach understanding everything that is on BOD in one simple platform. Like, for example, I can get my kids, my son likes to watch this show called Dino Trucks. I like to use real life, like other examples outside of this. He watches this show called Dino Trucks on YouTube. Like I can Google search on YouTube and find Dino Trucks shows for him, but they're like incomplete episodes sometimes, or they're like modified so they don't get copyright infringed on their YouTube channel. So it's not like the real experience, the full real experience, unless I watch it streamed on my Netflix account. Like that's where it's based out of. So I like to think of it like that. One way that, like, I love objections. So first of all, like, you're going to have a lot better time with objections if you just say to yourself or make the decision now, like, I love objections, because it gives you the opportunity to educate. That's how I look at it. An objection gives me the opportunity to what did I just say? To educate. So if I think about it comes back to your experience as well. Like, the whole goal, objections is just like a small part of it. It's understanding human behaviors is going to be what's going to help you. So write that down. Understanding human behavior. So, like, for example, you must create rapport, which is trust or common ground with somebody. So what happens a lot of time with an objection is someone will say, that's a pyramid scheme, or I can get that on YouTube, and you're like, oh, but you can't, it's not going to be as good. Like, you shoot them down. You try to come back at them with bringing them down. So the first thing on handling any objection like this one, first and foremost, is to agree with them on some sort, or at least relate with them at a time you felt something similar. So if someone says that to me, like, oh, let's say I'm calling them, I can get that on YouTube. I don't need to get BOD. And I'd be like, oh, that's exactly how I felt. I got P90X DVDs for free from my neighbor. Right? You see what I did there? Like, I relate to them and what they're currently thinking and going through. And I tell them, like, I got the P90X DVDs from my neighbor. I didn't even get them from my coach. So I would literally say it like that. And I experienced the results, but what I found, it's like, so it's called a feel found, what is it? Feel felt, something like that, found method. I don't talk about that one often, but you relate with how they feel with how you felt, and then teach them like what you found out. So then I say, but then I found that having the accountability, or in this case specifically for BOD, will be like, yes, you can get workouts for free on YouTube, but one thing that I found that I love about Beachbody On Demand is, and then that's where I would just list all the benefits that are on there. Like, you have every single workout program from start to finish. You have of Beachbody, and I always just call it world-class home fitness programs. You have like the best. You have all of the meal plans from like all of them. Like, workout calendars tells you exactly what to do on what day. You have all the meal plans, exactly what to eat, when to eat it, how much to eat. There's, and then I just say there's an extra bonuses on there as well, which you could also find some, in other places. But there's like a cooking show with Autumn Calabrese's brother. So I just list all those benefits, and then I would kind of wrap it back in and say, but it's all in one spot, like all organized easily. And I tell them time is my most important thing. And if I need to go here to find out how to do my workout, go over here to find out what to eat, go over here to find out when I should eat, it's going to take a lot more of my time. What I love about Beachbody On Demand is only $100 a year. Like, I have all of that all in one spot. Like, I click the program I want to do, and it's all listed right there. I don't have to go everywhere searching for it, and it's just a lot more convenient for me. So I would agree with them from the beginning, and relate with them. So my relate would be like how I say, I can totally understand. Like, I see them all the time. I see different workouts on YouTube all the time. As a matter of fact, I got P90X from my neighbor. So I thought to Michael, why would I need to buy P90X DVDs or something if I already have it? And you're going to kind of throw them off like that too. I have a prospect, just to give you an idea, and I think this is an important aspect of understanding this business model as well, where you help people, and add value prior, and then you're paid for it later in a sort. You can look at what we've done with the Fitness Accountability Group. Like, I've never made $1 from anything in that group for the past 4 months, right? But yet we have Beachbody advocates now that want to get Shakeology, that are going to get everything they need to get at launch. So you have to understand that it's not just in a launch situation. If you take that situation throughout your whole career as a coach, add value to people, help people, no matter what they're doing, they're going to eventually see that value and come back to it. Come back to you. So if they're so diehard on, I'm going to do these YouTube videos, I would help them with the YouTube videos. I would say, hey, let's get your before picture taken. If they won't move away from that, don't try to fight it. Like, help them get results and let them see the value in you as a coach. Like, the value that you can add to them and bring to them as their mentor and their coach. So I have a girl in the Fitness Accountability Group right now that has some app, something Fit 8 or something she bought a membership for. It ends in November. And so I told her, like, I offered her BOD, and she says, well, I already paid for this, so I'm just going to have to pass on what you have to offer, and I'll just do this. And I said, well, let's do this. Are you willing to take before pictures and measurements, and I'll help you make sure that you do your workouts on your Fit 8 or whatever it is? So I'm helping her with that. So, but what's going to happen when her membership ends there, or it's a YouTube video and they get bored, or it's not working, and you help them, they're going to ask you for the next thing that's going to help them work. And we know that Shift Shop, T25, 21 Day Fix works. So, and the same case goes, Hannah, you can help them with those programs on YouTube. And then when they have trouble with nutrition, you can introduce them to the Portion Fix Plan, Shakeology. So that's my approach on handling that objection.
Cool. I just wanted to say, actually, I don't know, I think I'll put this in a message to you, Scotty. Hold on, let me just check. Is everyone muted? Because I'm getting feedback. I don't know. I swear someone said that they do sales, and maybe they've got, some people like a bit of theory behind stuff. I mean, the only one that I've come across, it sounds very similar to what you're talking about, is, it's the whole thing about creating rapport and trust and all of that sort of stuff. But there's quite a theoretical process to solving objections, which I remember they went through. I mean, this was a long time. This was probably about 10 years ago I was doing this. I'll see if I can find some information, because just sometimes having it written down and knowing kind of, you welcome it, then you relate, then you isolate, then you overcome, then you close it, and that there's some kind of structure. If people haven't done it before, it can be quite God, I don't know how to handle that. And because actually often what they teach you in sales is that it's often actually a smoke screen. That isn't the real objection. So what you need to find out is, what is the real objection? So actually, I'm not ready could actually be that, well, actually I'm not ready, but actually I really can't afford it. Or, I'm not ready, or they might say I can't afford it. But what it really might be is that they don't want to give up the booze, or they don't want to, they don't want to do half an hour a day or whatever it might be, and they're actually not ready. So I'll see if I can find something and send it to people, because it's quite, sometimes it's quite difficult to think about it theoretically. Well, that's how my brain works anyway.
Yeah, that would be good to have. And it would be good to teach the team on some of those things as well. I have a series that's really it was quite expensive, but it was a Tony Robbins series on mastering influence, but it's on sales, mastering influence based on sales. And it goes through everything from like making a claim about what your product does, backing your claim, and then closing people. And like, I've studied it and I understand it. Just for me personally, I have a hard time with closing, like doing that more of a, what sales techniques teach on a hard close type thing, where it's like, well, you're saying, like, he's talking about, he used to sell cassette tapes for like Jim Rohn and stuff. And he would, talk about the value of the tapes and, if I were to give you this much, how much would that be worth? And he works on closing them. And their thing is, they come to this point where, he gets out of them like, oh, I would do it, but I don't have a cassette player, and he's like, well, you're telling me then if you had a cassette player, this is something that would work for you, right? Oh, let me hit record, Ellie. Did you hit record, Hannah?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. So let's say, they say, I would do it, but I just don't have a cassette player, so I'm gonna have to pass right now, right? So the hard close is like, that might not be the end reason, which you're trying to get to, helping us understand. But what he says in this is like, closing techniques is like, okay, so what you're saying that is, if you had a cassette player, this is something that you believe you would do and that would add value to your life and you would commit to today if you had a cassette player. And they're like, yeah, if I had a cassette player, I would definitely take that offer up. And he's like, well, here's what I have. This cassette player I've been showing you these tapes on today. When you order today, I'm giving you this. And then he'll pull out the slip for them to order and pay right there, right? I don't like that style. Like, there's sales techniques that like talk through closing somebody like that, getting them to commit. But I'm interested in seeing what that one is you have, to see what it teaches.
Yeah.
Honestly, when I get to the end of a call, like I'm very open in saying like I commit them in the fact that say I want to lose the 30 pounds. I want to be in the challenge group. And then we get to the price, right? And I don't have a wording that says like, okay, are you ready to get started right now? Or let's walk you through the sign up process. I'm not that direct. I just say, I understand if they're married, for example, or with a partner. And I know that because I've been having that conversation with them. I say, I understand, Sammy, that you most likely need to talk with your spouse about this. Is this something that you're ready to do right now? Or do you need to talk with him and I can reach back out to you tomorrow? So it's very like, my sales technique in that aspect is very, I think it takes the pressure off them a little bit.
Yeah.
Because people know you're selling them something. And I think it shocks them when you don't try to close them in a sort of way. At least that's the technique I use, where it's very, like I asked them, are you ready now? But I understand you might need to speak with, like I would need to speak with my spouse. So if you need to speak with your spouse first, let me know and then text me back later or whatever it is. So
I think that there's quite a lot of power in that, isn't there? Because that makes people realize that you really believe in the products that you're using and all that sort of stuff as well. So I think that and giving people time, they're more likely to.
And then you're not desperate on your terms and on your schedule to sell them and close them, and people can sense that. So
cool. Okay. Do you want the second objection?
I want them all.
Cool. Okay, isn't this just a pyramid scheme?
This is what I say to them. Explain to me what is a pyramid scheme? It's the first thing I say. And this is when you're on you got to be careful. There's a difference between on the phone, in person, and Facebook messaging or on a status, right? So most of the examples I'm giving you, I'm very video chat or on the phone type of inviting when it gets to these types of objections or questions. So I ask them what a pyramid scheme is because a lot of people don't know exactly what it is. It's just a smoke screen, like you say, that they throw up about network marketing or anything in that matter. So when they say, is this a pyramid scheme? I ask them what a pyramid scheme is. 80-90% of the time they have no idea what a pyramid scheme is. And someone posted in our team group, who was it that posted in there? One of them did in our UK group just the other day. I see Ali.
Visual, wasn't it? Everyone's a pyramid. Technically every organization is a pyramid scheme.
Yeah. Well, they gave a list of things that a pyramid scheme is. So I think it would be important to understand what that is. It's like building a business based on recruitment only and no sales of products. So there's a list of things that were in there. That was you, Ali. Okay. Yeah. So understand what it is. Understand that it's illegal, right? First and foremost, that a pyramid scheme is illegal. And so I tell them that if they don't know what the answer is, like first I have them do that to see if they can tell me so I can understand their thought process. And then I help them. The basic answer I give them, because as I used to say, pyramid schemes are illegal. And number two, Beachbody is A++ with the Better Business Bureau for 10 plus years, which means it's a valid and true business. And a pyramid scheme is illegal. So I just say just throw it out there. We're not. We're the A++ with the Better Business Bureau company, and and if they need more details, then you can go on to explain. The next thing, if I need to explain something or help them or educate them is the word, I tell them that I make the same cost selling someone like Beachbody On Demand All Access Challenge Pack as a customer as I do as a coach. And that's one of the first things where you can identify if a company is a pyramid scheme or not, is if the product, if it's a transference of product, not just a signing someone up to make money type of thing. I say that's where the pyramid schemes come in. Does that help you guys? Is that enough on the pyramid scheme? Any other questions on pyramid scheme while we're here?
Do you have any, Nick?
No.
Oh.
Sorry, who's that?
I have one question for you guys. Somebody educated me once. I think it was Arnaud. I was talking to Arnaud on the phone, and he said that you guys in the UK sometimes just say pyramid scheme. It's not a bad thing a lot of times. That's just what you call it, a network marketing company. Have you heard that, or is that false information? You haven't heard that? Okay. Then I will not believe that anymore. So.
I think someone put something really helpful up. I don't know who it was or where it was that when we were in one of the groups, and they were saying, technically, all organisations are some kind of pyramid. There's always a CEO and there's people below, and and there's always going to be people at the bottom. Yeah. So. Yeah. I suppose it's how you kind of talk about it, but I think you're right. I think understanding exactly what a pyramid scheme is, so you can explain how it isn't one, is actually really critical.
Yeah. And then remember, the same as the last objection is agree with them in some sort of way. Like that's what I thought.
Yeah.
So like one of the main reasons I didn't sign up for the first 8 months that I knew about it, like I experienced P90X, I loved it. I saw coaching and I was like, I'm not signing up for that online thing. Like I didn't know what a pyramid scheme was, but I didn't want to get scammed by some online thing that was going to take my money. Right. So I just say, hey, I felt kind of similar. Like when I first found out about it, I was like, oh, I'm not going to sign up for that scam thing. That's how I worded it, not pyramid scheme, but I'm not going to sign up for that scam until and then found out. Remember, you fill in and tell them what you found out. How I found out that this is how it actually works. So remember that method with each objection. This is how I felt. This is what I found out. Okay, what's the next one? I better pull up the chat, please.
The next one, sorry, I'm making some scribbly notes. So I'm too busy to work out. So even for half an hour, or I can't work out 6 days a week, just I'm too busy to work out.
Man, that's exactly how I felt 6 years ago. Always. Like, these are my natural reactions. Like what I said right there is exactly my reaction. Then I tell them how I felt. I say, when I started my journey, I was exhausted. I would get home from work and I would just lay on the couch. And I tell like little story. I use stories all the time. And I say, I remember one day my wife started working out to this program, P90X. And she did P90X, and then she started running up and down the stairs. And I was laying on the couch, and I just couldn't see how she had so much energy to do a workout and then run up and down the stairs. And then I had this moment when I was like, man, something's wrong with me if I'm this tired after not doing any exercise and she's doing that. And I gave it a shot. I started P90X, and within a week, it was hard at the beginning. I was tired. I didn't feel like I had enough time. But once I started, I realized how much better my energy levels were. Because my energy levels were better, I was better at my work, and I was better as a father and as a husband. So I always say how I felt, and then how I found out how it changed me. And so I always use examples, whether it's my example or somebody else's example. And this is why I love Beachbody On Demand, especially workouts like 21 Day Fix and T25, is I just share with them that it takes, because a lot of people have this mentality because they just know the gym atmosphere. So going to the gym is going to take whatever the commute is, plus the hour they spend there because they don't know how to use the machines, plus if they get in the spa or whatever, they got to change there. So it takes a long time. So they have this mentality until we can educate them that working out takes an hour plus a day. So if you can show them as well that it takes literally as long as it takes for you to put your shoes on, push play, and 25 minutes later you're done. Like the time that it takes most people to commute to the gym, they can be done with T25 on Beachbody On Demand. So helping them understand that, it'd be a huge thing. And I give examples of my life specifically. I say, hey, I'm a father of 5. And I got to get my kids off to school at 7. And one thing that I do is I just get up at 6:15, and then I start my workout with my daughter at 6:30, and we're done by 6:55, and then we can get the rest of the kids up and get them off to school. And so you'll find that a lot of people, when they say this, they spend countless amount of times or hours or minutes or whatever doing nothing, sitting on the couch, thinking about doing something. When literally, if you can just teach them how to just put their shoes on and push play on T25 and start, it'll be done before they even thought it. Before it would have been 25 minutes of thinking about if they should work out, they can do it. So I share my example of a busy life and how I squeeze it in. And so that's what I would suggest. Do you guys have any other questions about, I don't have enough time?
Can I share something? Would you mind?
Yeah. Let's hear it.
I've found it's a little bit like a food diary, but this time with a time diary. I discovered like having to get up to do my workout and then travel quite far to do my job for 12 hours. That that space, like when the alarm goes off and you think, oh, I'll just close my eyes, and you have like a 15-minute blink. Mm-hmm. Well, I've discovered that I've tried to do that and I can't. So there's 15 minutes that I can't afford to lose. Now, there are also portions of the day where I do things like I can't just give up my break. I can't just have lunch. I can have lunch and scroll through some messages while I'm at work, I can. If you really analyze your day and be as disciplined as to break it up into 15-minute slots if you have to, you know, like Barack Obama could, if Barack Obama, I don't know about Trump, but if he could fit a workout in doing what he did, then I reckon if I look at my schedule, I'll find these little 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And you know, the 4 hours that you said you did like after work, like I found that I couldn't have like a literal 4-hour block, but I could have 20 minutes there, 20 minutes there, 10 minutes there, and it's added up. And it took a lot of failing and a lot of trial and error, but I found like you can do that but you do have to be sort of disciplined and really look at your day and really break it down. But yeah, so that's it.
Cool. And I apply that to every area of my business. Like, for example, I ended the last call on the hour, and then we had 30 minutes till this started. Most people would scroll Facebook, wander around, and be like, okay, I got 30 minutes till the next call. Like I answered 5 messages. I uploaded the recording to the last call, and I ate lunch, and I had a quick discussion with Gabby about what we should do coming from Bristol to London in that 30-minute time. So it's really teaching people how to use their time, like Chris is saying, more effectively. One thing I would do is help these people to that don't have time to get that 25 minutes in the morning, like Chris is saying. And then I would have them read or listen to the book, The 5-Second Rule, as they start their journey with you. Or have them listen to the 5-second rule for a week as you work on getting them or closing them on getting started on their program. So you guys will notice many times when I'm messaging you, like I'm overcoming objections all the time with you guys, whether you know it or not. You're not blatantly coming out and saying I object this or that's not right, but I'm always furthering the education of you guys on what we have and how it works. So a lot of times I use personal development books and audios and audio clips to tell the person what I would want to tell them, but they're better at telling them than I am. Does that make sense? So like I use the 5-second rule when people tell me that they're just not feeling motivated to do their workout. They know they should. And I tell them to read the 5-second rule so they can understand the whole concept behind that motivation just doesn't happen, that you have to act your way into it. So I would work on with them, give examples of people that are busy. Number 2 thing I would do is I would help educate them on how physical activity will help them improve in all areas of their life. Like making the time for those 25 minutes, like figuring that out, whether it's waking up 30 minutes or not. Like everybody can wake up 30 minutes early, no matter how busy their schedule is. And so if you can help them understand that, understand what it will do for them long-term for their health, currently for their attitude and their performance as a spouse, a husband, a wife, a parent, an employee, help them understand that, they'll begin to find the time that they said they didn't have before. Cool. Can I answer Sandra's objection from her people real quick? Okay. Before we get the next one. Someone told me yesterday that they disagreed with any company who does ask for bank account details in advance, hoping people that will forget to cancel. So I've never had someone tell me that, honestly. That's a brand new objection for me. But I know one that's very similar, so I'll use an example. I have people that get super excited about Beachbody On Demand All Access Challenge Pack, doing the 21-day fix with me, okay? Doing a challenge group, just like starting this journey. I'm their coach. They're super excited about it. I tell them the challenge pack price, and they're like, I'm in. And they're like, send me the link, and I'm going to send it, and they're going to be ready to start with me, everything. And then I get a message that says, and this happens a couple times, I didn't realize that this was a reoccurring shipment. And I try to help them understand that, but sometimes we just get excited and I forget. I don't tell that part. It says it very clearly when they're ordering, but sometimes that'll come up. So that's an objection that's somewhat similar. Like the company's tying you into an auto ship program, kind of similar to give you something for free and then it bills, right? So it's kind of the same objection. So one thing that I do personally is with them, I tell them And I only do it with people that tell me this objection specifically is in my follow-up list as I'm checking in with them on getting them started before pictures, measurements, make sure they understand the meal plan, start their program. Then I'm checking in with them. They're in the challenge group or the fitness accountability group, but then I'm checking in with them once a week. Okay. And you guys will see as customers, you usually get a response from me once a week on the same day. Take note of what I'm doing to you guys. And you guys are, because you guys are my customers right now. So I send that message. I'll make a note in my notes, Sandra, for them specifically to say, like, you have 7 days left of your free trial. If you don't want to continue for the next quarter or the year, you need to cancel it with this link or with this number. Like, I'll help you. So what I say, Sandra, what I'm trying to say to you is I tell them in that when they bring that objection, I tell them, yes, it's going to come on a monthly auto ship. But if it's something that you don't enjoy or you don't feel like you're going to continue using, I'm going to make sure to let you know 1 week before with a link that you can click to cancel and postpone your Shakeology, or cancel or postpone your Shakeology. And 100% of the time that's worked for me. But then what do I have to do as their coach? I better make sure that I send them that message to help them know how to do that when that time comes. So that's someone, Sandra, I believe that's someone's own personal belief. That's one of those ones if they're so solid on that, like you really can't overcome that, you can just do your best to help ease them into it, right? But like for that one, when I look at it, like I wouldn't try to fight it or like prove to them that this company is a good company. They're not trying to scam you. I would just share my personal experience, how Beachbody On Demand's helped me. And if they don't, if they don't like the experience, they can cancel it. And I even tell them, like, if you don't like it and it bills and you're not happy with that and you're not going to use it, they'll refund you because Beachbody will. So I just help them know, like, if you're not happy, like, they will refund you. And so that's kind of the route I would go on that with them, Sandra. Okay. Okay. And that's a belief that they have. Their belief is that companies are out to scam people by gathering their information, hoping that they cancel them, hoping that they cancel. And in reality, like every single company or business that you know almost does something very similar, but we know it as rebates. Like people give a $50 rebate so that you'll buy from them versus over here in hopes that you don't take the time and the effort to cut out the UPC code. Do you guys have rebates over there like we do? I hope I'm not giving it. Do you, Hannah? You have rebates?
Cashback. Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, where you like have to mail it back with like your receipt and then they give you some money back. So that's the same thing as what they're believing about companies. That's what rebates are. It's the exact same thing and almost every company does it. It is, honestly, for them, it's in hope that you don't, what's the word? Send the rebate back, $50 back, and that you bought the product from them versus them. So it's just a belief that they have about companies are out to jip people. So I would just do your best to help that person. Let me mute. I think Gordy just got on. Can you? I think it's Gordy.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's me.
We'll mute you, bud, because we know you're on the phone. There you go.
Can I just ask, how do you approach the subject? How do you approach the subject that it's a reoccurring shipment?
Okay. So this is we kind of just covered this barely on the fact of like I just let them know it's a reoccurring shipment first and foremost, that it's something that it comes every month. But I think that comes prior, like you need prior groundwork. Or if you get to this objection, you need to continue to lay the groundwork before they purchase or before they order on educating them that what Shakeology is doing for them, why it's important that they take it every single day, which is not for weight loss, not a magic thing, not a protein shake, but it's an overall health shake. So it's on a reoccurring shipment because it's something that they should be taking every single day.
And it's only the cost of Shakeology that is the reoccurring shipment, not the whole challenge pack.
Nope, just the reoccurring cost of Shakeology. So The next month, let's say they order today a challenge pack. Next month on the 4th will come their reoccurring payment of the price of Shakeology.
Oh, that's fine. Okay. Yeah, brilliant.
Yes. And one thing that I do, Gordy, throughout that month is the private conversation still, where I'm asking if they're using it every day. I'm asking them to tell me what differences they notice. Are they feeling more energy? Are they have less cravings? I find out how it's benefiting them. And then I begin to slowly introduce the option of becoming a coach and getting a discount. I help them understand, hey, in 2 months or in 2 weeks, your next order of Shakeology is coming. Do you want to continue paying retail, or would you like to hear how you can get a discount at it? So I'm always just continually following up with them, making sure they're using it, experiencing it, and then giving them options.
So would you do that? So would you do that within the first couple of weeks? So say someone's just literally got a challenge pack 2 weeks in, because they're obviously it's going to reship in 2 weeks' time. Would you already start to say, oh, not do you want to be a coach, but you've got 2 weeks left. Do you think you'll get it next month?
Yeah, I would ask them, do you plan on continuing?
Yeah.
To use
Cool. Okay.
And then it would kind of be a way of bringing them into a coach sneak peek group and let them see the 25% discount. Let them see what it means to be a coach, what they need to be, what they're not required to be, and kind of that can kind of get rid of a lot of the fears they might have as they're introduced to it.
Cool.
Cool.
Should we move to the next one?
Let's do it.
Cool. Okay. So I work full time. I haven't got capacity to do anything else.
Okay, we got to relate again. One of the things that I always tell people is, I work full time. I don't have the capacity. So first you have to understand this is not an objection to your challenge group or to becoming a coach. This is a belief that they have. So remember, a lot of overcoming objection, everything we do is understanding human behavior. Like they believe they're maxed out because that's all they know and that's all they experience up to date. Because we all know, you guys have met somebody that does like 5 times more than like somebody else, right? Like in your life, there's somebody that does like 3 jobs, has like 5 kids, runs a charity, is like the PTO lady, or whatever at the school, helps the kids at the school. Like they do all those things. And then there's somebody that works 10 hours a day, has 1 kid, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm so busy and stressed out. Like I can't take on another thing or I'm going to die. Right? There's 2 people and one's doing 3 times more than the other one is. So first understand when someone says that, they have that belief about themselves that they're maxed out. They have some prior belief that we need to understand about them. So always, first and foremost, on all these objections, relate with them. Okay. So and just to give you an idea, I don't do it right now, but a year ago, like we run this team of 45,000. I build like a brand new coach. Like I do exactly what a brand new coach should do, which is recruit, run challenge groups, help people get results, sign coaches, teach coaches how to do that. Right. I don't just sit back and try to lead people. Like by telling them what to do, I do it so that they can follow it. So like I massively do that, lead this team of 45,000. I have 5 kids. Every Sunday I teach Sunday school, like as a service for our church. I visit 2 families a month and check on their well-being. And that's what I do right now. But prior, like a year ago, I played in a band. So I practiced and wrote songs on Thursday nights in the studio. Some Tuesday nights and some Thursday nights after till late, and then playing shows on Fridays and Saturdays. Right, that is busy, right, doing that. And what's on top of that? Before I built this business full time, I worked a 12-hour day and did all those things. I worked at Idaho Steel, my job from 5 to 5, and did those things. So like when someone tells me I don't have time or I'm busy, I'm like, inside I know like they have time. I just need to help them, kind of like Chris was talking about. Find the time that they do have and teach them how to use it in a way that will change their life. So it comes down to helping people, just like we should help people budget their money and what money comes in, what money comes out. We need to teach people how to budget their time in educating them. So I don't have time would come back to educating them on their time, how they use their time, where their time is being spent, and find out at the same time, you need to find out at the same time, what are their priorities? I think that comes before you can tell them that. Find out what their priorities are. And I have an activity that I do with prospects and with coaches that has to do with time management, we'll call it. And I'll teach it to you real quick. I have them get a piece of paper and write a line down the middle. And on one side, they write down everything that they do in a day. Kind of like Chris said, accounting their hours, everything they do. What time do you wake up, eat breakfast? What time do you leave for work? Everything. Do you watch the news? You read the newspaper? Everything that they do throughout the day. When's your lunch break at work? How long's your commute? How long does it take to do dinner? Clean up dishes? Because like, where is all the time going? Every amount of time, every activity you're doing. So I have them write that down. And then I ask them, what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 to 10 years? And I have them get specific on their goals. So this could be their health goals. This could be financial goals, parenting goals. They give me their priorities. What are their goals? And then I tell them, okay, go over to this side of the paper where you wrote down everything you do and draw a big line through everything that doesn't help you achieve that priority. And then it helps them understand all the things they're doing that are not moving them towards their goal. So that's one thing I do. We're coaches. I coach people and teach them how to take out things that don't align with their priorities. So, and I do it for myself. Why do I not play in a band and in the studio? Like, I love that, but does it help me grow this team to where I want to be and help me to be the best husband and spouse and father? Absolutely not. Because it means being away from them 3 nights a week and playing in bars. So I have to X that and drop that one out. So that's what I do when someone says they don't have enough time. I first say, that's how I felt at first. It was one of the biggest things that held me back from being a coach for 8 months is that I couldn't see at the time how I could work 12 hours a day, watch 3 little girls on my own while my wife was at work, and then build a business. It didn't make sense on how that would be possible for me until I sat down and realized that I was playing video games every single night, playing video games and drinking a tall boy of beer to wind myself down. And I was playing softball and playing in a band. I didn't let the band go, but I let softball go, and I let playing Call of Duty on the Xbox go. And when I let those things go, I realized twice a week with softball that was 6 hours, 3 hours for each softball game between traveling there, stretching, warming up, playing, coming home. And then I had every night for Call of Duty at least 8 to 10:30, 8:30 to 10:30, 8:30 to 11. That was 3 hours every single night times 7 days a week. There's 21 hours there that I had, plus the softball was 6-7 hours. So I had like 28 hours that I could build this business. And that was without using my lunch break. So if I added my lunch break on top of that, I had another 5 hours for the 5 days of work. And I have over 30 hours to build this business that I thought I didn't have before. So that's how I overcome that objection. Share with them how you felt, where you found your time, what things you did to find your time, and then help them find their time.
Cool. I wonder whether we need a whole... Oh.
We can do part 2 if we want as well.
Yeah, I do wonder whether we need like a whole thing, a whole session on time management and discipline and stuff. I think that might be helpful at another and like for us as sort of new coaches and stuff. Anyway, cool. Okay, the next one is I can't afford it.
Oh man, that's exactly how I felt too. There's my answer. That's exactly what I felt when I started. And I tell them I got my P90X for free. I tell people I'm not trying to hide it. I got my P90X for free from a friend. And I got introduced to Shakeall. I started eating healthier. You know, I didn't really know exactly what to eat, but I started eating healthier. And then notice I tell a lot of stories. So always tell stories about your experience because they're going to relate to that more than any facts you could tell them. So what I do then is I tell them like I was researching and looking online and trying to find like the best protein to build muscle and all that stuff that people do when they start working out. I tell them that's what I did. And I tried like 5 or 6 different proteins from buying on Amazon to bodybuilding.com to getting the Walmart protein when money was tight. And I told them I would do those things and I would use those And my coach talked to me about Shakeology and about health benefits and whatnot. And I just told her, not for me. I got a sample and I tried it and I told her I hated it. But in reality, it was because I thought it was too expensive. And so I tell them that. I gave an objection to my coach. I said, I told her that I didn't like it, but in reality, I thought it was too expensive. And then I said, but then as I began to research and see what was in Shakeology, what the health benefits were, how they took care of it and produced it, read the stories of how it helped people with all these different things, I began to see the value. And then when I took it a deeper level, I remember having a conversation with my wife, Gabby, because she had the same objection I have of that's too expensive. It's funny because I'm looking at Chris now, and Chris was saying the same thing when I first started talking to him 3-4 months ago. Same conversation we had. And I just told her, hey, here's what I'm going to do. So I made a deal with her. I was like, I'm going to not drink this cheap protein that I've been drinking for the $48 it was, something like $48. I'm going to not get that. I told my wife, I'm not going to get that. And then I'm going to get Shakeology, and the gap between those two prices is, and it was like $52 or something like that. And I told her, I'm going to earn the money. Like, I'm going to earn the money to cover that gap. And so I'd tell people all the time what I did when I thought it was too expensive. When I understood the value of how it was going to help me, it's funny, when someone understands the value, they're going to find a way. They'll find a way to figure it out. So me personally, I tell them I bought and sold things on the Craigslist for the money to buy my initial Shakeology order. So I tell them that. I tell them that's how I got it. And I put a quote up today that said, nowadays people know the price of everything, but they don't know the value of anything. So it's helping them understand the value of what we have to offer them. So I realized that I had crap out of the protein shake from Walmart. So I was getting rid of that and using that money plus the $50. And I saw the value in it, so I worked. I did extra things outside of my job to get money to get the Shakeology. But the interesting thing is that after I did that, I realized, because I didn't, my mind wasn't open to this or whatever it was yet, because we have habits that we have, that once I did that. I bought it with my money from Craigslist. I started drinking it. I realized that I no longer needed to walk to the convenience store, the gas station, at my break to buy 2 Rockstar energy drinks. So once I realized that Shakeology gave me natural energy, I didn't need the Rockstar energy drinks that I should be drinking anyway, I was saving $3 right there alone. And that pretty much covers the cost of the whole shake, at least on Coach discount price. So when it comes to it's too expensive, I relate to them on how I felt. I thought it was too expensive, so I bought it at Walmart. I realized it wasn't giving me the nutrients, that it wasn't the same thing as what Shakeology is. I educated myself on Shakeology, understood the benefits, found a way. Once I understood the value, I found the money. It's funny how that works. But you're going to notice that it's back to human behavior. If you want to buy a TV or whatever it is that you're into, or a house or a car, once you find the one you want and you see the value in it, you're going to spend more than you thought you were going to spend almost every time. But you don't spend more until you understand the value. Is that right? So it comes down to helping them understand the value.
Nick's only laughing because that's exactly what I did.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
I think what is of benefit as well is if you come at this from a slightly less obvious angle in terms of tackling the price. Like we've discovered that we save like a ton of money if at the start of the week. Now, I'm not saying like we're brilliant at this, but it still stands. If at the start of the week, instead of going shopping and then picking things off the shelf that you quite fancy, let's say if you think of a menu plan for the week, or you buy ingredients to go into batch meals for the week, you cut out, or we've cut out, so many, when you add things in the trolley, like, oh, I quite fancy that, and it's £1.25, oh, I quite fancy that, and it's not really part of any meal plan. You cut down on a lot of waste, and you cut down on a lot of unnecessary expenditure. So if you went at it from that angle, and you know, like on your page, you try educating people about that and showing them the savings they can make, it almost sort of cuts the "I can't afford Shakeology" question off at the knees before they even start to ask it, because of other things you're talking about, because of other things you're teaching. You're making the question sort of dead in the water, because you're freeing up their finances by teaching them about something else. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of my strong diamond coaches, her name is Melody Ryan. She was really struggling on duplicating herself a little while back, because she's never had a financial struggle. She's always been good at financing and budgeting. So she's had a hard time, you know, like I could tell my story about when we had the baby, and that reaches people and they connect with us, and then, you know, they understand our why and they want to be a part of what we do. She doesn't have that because she's never struggled. But one thing she's good at is what Chris is saying. She's really good at budgeting her whole life. Like, they have a house that most people that they grew up with could never afford, but yet they don't make more than their friends do. But because they know how to be smart with money and budget. So I told her, like, to start using Facebook in the exact way that Chris is saying, and teaching people how to budget, teaching people how to save when you go back to school shopping, teaching people all these things. So when she does that, now she's running groups on how to budget and plan your week, or how to, you know, whatever it is, how to plan your Christmas vacation for under whatever amount, right? Or your Christmas shopping and how to budget for, like, all that stuff. She teaches that stuff now, and she finds people that don't know how to budget their money, teaches them how, and then they see the value in what she's teaching them, and then the fitness stuff comes up, and then that's how they're introduced into her tribe, per se. So I think that's an important aspect to go back to the big question, is to just continue to educate them as well on how to use their money and where it's going. Because we're the same way. When we go grocery shopping with 7 people in our family, like, it's like $400 if I go without a plan and I just go grab stuff off the shelf to feed all 7 of us. It's expensive. But if Gabby's like dialed in on the shift shop, we're in and out for like $125 or something like that. So you can teach them how to save money, just like you said there. So, okay, let's hit another question.
Hi, can I just give you a quick aspect to that from my point of view as well? Yeah. Just because I don't have kids, I don't have family, and I don't really budget the same as like most people. A good way to come at it is, you would normally spend up to £5 on a breakfast or a lunch. If it's a meal replacement, it's actually costing much more than what Shakeology will cost to do that. Yep. And you're spending like at least £5 a day. It's cheaper for Shakeology as a meal replacement.
Absolutely. And I do that. I do exactly what Gordy's saying with when I share Shakeology, when I introduce Shakeology when I'm talking to someone, I share how my dad replaced his value meal at McDonald's or Wendy's or Burger King with Shakeology. And then I share how it helped him with his health benefits as well. So I share how it saves him money and helps with that. And that's going to go back to that education is going to come back to help people with understanding how they can fit it in their budget if they feel like they don't have enough, they don't have money, or it's too expensive. Okay. Also, one last thing I think it's important. I follow Gary Vaynerchuk a lot on YouTube and Facebook. But Gary V is always about adding, like, I don't like the way he words it in this sense, but it happens in a sort of way. Like, he gives so much, he teaches that you give so much content and value and help and support to people. And he words it like this. I think of it in a different way, but he words it that they almost feel guilty not buying a product from you because you've given them and served them with so much. So kind of take that mindset from bigger than what we're talking about, Gordy, with teaching them how to budget their lunch, or Chris saying budget their shopping, or me saying the Shakeology, and these little techniques and these little things. Like, if you help them so much with changing their mindset through books or audios you send them, or helping them budget their time and their management or any of those things, and their life begins to change and transform, they're not going to look at the price of Shakeology. They're going to look at the whole thing that they're getting with you. They're going to look at, let's say, I don't have the price list with me, but let's say it's 100 and yeah, we'll talk about that later. But let's say it's 160 US dollars. They're not going to see, when they see $160, my prospects, or even you guys look at it like this for the most part. You don't see a bag of powder, a $40 sign-up fee, and a year subscription to Beachbody on demand is all you're getting. You're getting much more than that, like with the team, the training, the mentoring, what's happened with your life so far. So there's much more value than just a bag of Shakeology. So you have to understand that about yourself, about what you give to people. That's going to increase the value. Like I could, like I can't because of Beachbody policy and procedure, but I could charge somebody, a coach from another team, I could charge them $1,000 a month to mentor them one-on-one, right? And that's without getting a bag of Shakeology or a membership. Because they've seen how much I've taught and helped on Facebook Live and YouTube over the past 7 years, they see the value of what could happen if them and I have a one-on-one conversation and I help them overcome their own personal issues. Does that make sense? So if you can start doing that with people, that's going to increase the value right there to the point where it can blow the cap off of even a price objection on any product, to where you could sell a challenge pack at 500 pounds for a bag of Shakeology and BOD if you can build your value over time by showing people like how much you're growing and how much value you can give to them. So I think that's an important part that a lot of people miss too. So okay, let's hit the next one.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Right, so you're just trying to make money off of me or out of me?
You're trying to make money out of me.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely not. I will help you whether you buy anything from me or not. I'd leave it right there.
Cool.
That's the only thing I would say, because I truly would. Froso left, but I've helped Froso for the past 7 years, and I've never gotten anything from her as far as like a commission or anything. So you have to be that person that you'll help or serve or guide them in some way or form without ever expecting anything in return. So I just tell them, I'll help you. Like, you don't have to buy from me. I'll still help you. Just like that, I gave you the example today of that person with the T8 app. I said, that's okay if you use that. I'll still help you. So that's the easy one to overcome. Just help them anyway.
It's interesting, actually, because since sort of doing all this networking, I've had quite a few people that are obviously part of other MLMs. And as soon as you say no, thank you, they stop talking to you.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's quite funny. Okay, cool. The next one. It's another fad. Or it's short-term results, or, I'm going to get results in 21, 30, 90 days, but it's not long-term.
Yeah. So one thing on all these objections, I think of it specifically on this one, is always the word that comes to my mind is what. Like why sometimes, but what. So I would ask them, what makes you think this is a fad? Like have them explain themselves to you. Like same with the pyramid scheme. What makes you think, what's a pyramid scheme? What makes you think this is a pyramid scheme? What experience have you had that makes you think this is a pyramid scheme? Or what makes you think this is a fad? And most of the time they're not going to have any, it's just a smoke screen they're throwing up to an objection of some other sort, most likely. So that's what I would ask them is what makes you feel this is a fad? And like, I don't believe that facts can really convince people. Facts can in a sort of way, but it's just true. Like your unwavering belief that this is a lifelong lifestyle change for you and for other people if they follow your example, then you don't really need to prove them other than just show them that you're not just doing a 60-day program and stopping. And that's why like in any business, but in this specifically, that consistency over time is so important. Because if you do T25, Chris, for 45 and lose 45 pounds, and then you disappear for 60 days, your friends will be like, I knew it was a fad. He's in and out. Well, we know you're not going to do that, but I'm giving that as an example on why it's so important that you stay consistent over time. because you'll prove to them. So if somebody says that to me, Hannah, that seems like a fad, and I'll be like, I've been consistent, and this has helped me. Beachbody On Demand, P90X Insanity has helped me stay in shape and never get really out of shape for the past 7 years. Like, it's a lifestyle change. And my kids are actually doing it now. So it's just, your life has to be a proof of it, which goes back to the vital behavior of proof the products work, is make sure that you don't make it a fad. Like, it's not just something like quick to do and you're excited about it and then you're gone. And that's the biggest way to fight any objection, is to live what you preach. So, okay.
Okay, the next one is one that I've had a couple of times already. I'm not ready, so I'm not ready to commit. Probably more to the being a customer than being a coach, but I probably will get the latter as well.
Yeah, so I'm not ready to be a customer or a coach. Back to the relate, I wasn't either. You know, my wife started the workout a couple weeks before I did. I wasn't ready exactly when my wife was ready. And I had to have the moment when I was laying on the couch and she was running up and down the stairs, right? And then I was like, okay, this is it. Like, I got to start. And I started. So I relate in that sense. I relate all the time to telling people, like, people say, like, Scotty, when did you become a coach? And I always, one of my fun ways to say it is 8 months after I should have done it. And they're like, well, what do you mean by that? And I was like, well, because I wasn't ready. When I first found out about it, I wasn't ready for it. And I think if you lay out your fears, your prior objections, everything you felt prior to them, they're not so afraid to share with you what theirs are. So, like, I told people I was, like, I've always been shy, never felt good enough. Like, so I didn't feel like this is something that I could excel at or be good at, or that people could look at me as someone to lead them. I could never see myself getting on a video. Like, I can't even stand up. Like, my kindergarten graduation picture, everybody's lined up with their little diploma and I'm standing behind the teacher. That's me my whole life. The picture I have in my little book is me standing behind the teacher. Like, I've always been shy and quiet and reserved. And, like, I didn't know how to use Facebook. I worked 12 hours a day, so I didn't know how I could fit this in. Like, all of those things that I felt, I just tell them. These are all the things I felt, and I'd had to overcome that. I just help them know I had to overcome those beliefs about myself. And then once I did, and that's when I tell my story powerfully about April 11th, 2011. This is what changed. My fear of not knowing how to take care of my family became greater than all of these other fears that I just told you about. And that's the day that I was ready. So I'm okay if you're not ready right now, but let's start working on some things that can help you get ready. So that's what I would do, is just relate, share your story of fears you've had or things that kept you from feeling like you were ready. Like, relate with them on that, and then start educating them on how to change their mindset and to get ready. And that's going to come through helping them getting their body into motion, whether they buy something from you or not, doing a YouTube workout, doing a run, doing a jog, doing a swim, help them start to eat some better foods, and start getting them to listen to books like The Slight Edge, or You're a Badass, or The 5-Second Rule. Those are all books that I recommend to prospects, people that I'm getting objections from. So I just openly ask them, just like I invite them to a coach sneak peek, like, hey, I felt like that before, where I didn't really feel motivated to get up in the morning and do my workout. But here is the audiobook that I listened to that helped me understand why I think like that. And it helped me change that mindset. And now I can get up and I can jump right out of bed when my alarm goes off. If I sent you that audiobook to listen to, would you watch it, or would you listen to it? So I'm always educating them in that form to help them out. So there's your answer. I'm doing awesome. I'm on fire today.
All right, I think we've probably covered the next one, just that Shakeology is too expensive. Did you have anything to add? Yeah, cool. Okay. So then there was one that Gordy added. I can't work around my kids. They're crying all the time. Like, it's just too much. Was that right, Gordy?
That's a good. He's on there, but that is
that's
Gordy.
right. That's right.
All of your kids, huh, Gordy? It gets tough. I understand. I can relate. So I understand this because, I mean, there's, like, for example, right, Gabby was gone for 4 days. like I was trying to work around the kids. And I squoze in a couple half-hour blocks, a couple calls. You guys saw Malik climbing up on the table. Like it's difficult. Like I understand that. So I relate with them and say, help them understand it's difficult. And it's hard, like if they're misbehaving, and they're most likely misbehaving because you're not paying attention to them and they want you to pay attention to them. They're trying to get your attention. That can be tough. And I tell them, like you're going to be able to find little blocks of time where you can squeeze in some work, but I want you to separate them. Okay. And here's a specific example. Like, guys, I worked at 5, got home at 5, which meant I got up at around 4, got to work at 5, left at 5, got home around 5:30. And I picked the kids up from the neighbor's house. The 3 little kids is when I'm brand new at Beachbody. And my wife's at work. So I get home from work after 12 hours in a stressful job. I did 3 people's jobs there. I get home and I have a 4-year-old, a 2-year-old, and a 21-day-year-old. That's how old they were the day I signed up as a coach and tried to run this business from home. So I didn't work at all from 5:30 to 8:30. Nothing. Unless they started playing or something, I would squeeze in checking in the challenge group. Or I would answer a couple messages. But if they were there at my feet crying or needing food or something, I didn't sit there and be like, hey, leave me, I got to finish this. Like there was none of that. So I help them understand I don't want them to be that kind of parent because they don't want to be that kind of parent either. So I tell them that I had to sacrifice things that I loved. And it wasn't going to be sacrificing the kids. From time to time, there was sacrificing some time with the kids. Obviously, when Gabby was here to where, like Gabby's with the kids right now and I'm sacrificing time from them, right? So there's times that happens, or where maybe Nick takes the kids and Hannah crushes out 2 hours. And then Hannah takes the kid and then Nick crushes out 2 hours. Like you have to, you have to communicate and figure out what your schedule is going to be. But for in this case, for me, like I had to stay up a little bit later because I used to go to sleep right at 10:30 or so after playing video games. So I had to sacrifice playing the video games and staying up a little bit later. And so I would stay up, like I just committed to stay up till midnight every night. It was originally 11, but I fell in love with what I was doing and I would want to finish and do as much as I could. And that I realized that I could live on sleeping from 12 to 4. That was me with 3 kids. But I can't do that anymore. Now I go to bed and it's like 6 hours till I have to wake up. I'm like, oh man, I'm 6 hours of sleep. But I did that, but I was willing to do that short term for the ability to sleep an 8-hour night every night if I wanted to. So don't get scared. Hannah, I see you looking stressed about this. It can be 8:30 to 10:30. It can be 8:30 to like 8 to 10, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be as aggressive as I did it. Remember that, because everybody's on your own journey. I was desperate to bring Gabby home and I was desperate to leave my job. So I was willing to sacrifice that so I wouldn't have to suffer there another 2 years. So you can still build a business as long as you're consistent. It doesn't, like you can do 2-3 hours a day and I can do 6 hours a day. You can still get to where I'm at. It's just going to take longer. So understand that so you don't get scared about if you don't have that much time and you're a parent. But the answer to that question is I did all of that work when the kids were in bed. And I did a solid hour. My lunch break was 12 to 1 and I used to nap. And I've told you guys, I think this before, I had a big blanket in my car and a pillow. And I literally would sleep for a solid hour, set my alarm for like 2 minutes before I had to be back into work, jump up and run inside and work. And I sacrificed that and I did phone calls and video chats like this during that hour. So I found the hour during work and I found the 4 hours at night, the 8 to midnight. So that's what I would suggest when you got kids in the home and that mix and that balance. But always open communication. So help them understand. And I think it helps them too when I tell them, I don't want you to ignore your kids and build a business. You know, because no parent really wants to do that. So help them understand that and then teach them where they can, goes back again, teach them where they can find that time or where they can make some sacrifices for their long-term goal. Okay, let's do it. What else do we got?
That's it.
That's it.
That's all the ones that people wrote down. I mean, is there any that you get often, Scotty, that you think we might start to come up against?
Let's see. I got like 8 minutes before the kids get home, so I can answer this. You guys pretty much covered everything that I face. One of the biggest, I'll hit it on another level, not a specific example. Almost every objection has to do with fear. Fear. So I would really study as a coach that's going to coach people. I would really study, like watch YouTube videos, TED Talks, Tony Robbins on understanding human behavior and why people act the way they do. Because every objection that someone throws up is they have a fear about something. It could be a fear about getting scammed, a fear about starting something and failing, a fear about losing money, a fear about, and it goes on the other side. And I've even helped mentor people through this, and where they will build a business like solid for a year, start building this great, and like when I say great, I'm very grateful for anything we have. So when I say a great income, I mean like a consistent 500, 600, 700, 800 a week. Like from home for a couple hours a night, like that's a great income. And they start to build this, right? But they've never had anything like that or never done anything like that. And then they have this fear of success, of what to do with that money or how to lead these people, or a fear of, am I going to fail these people? Like I've failed so many times and those inner issues or demons come out and start to attack them. And they stop working and they stop leading and they stop working, doing their workout, and they stop drinking the shake. And they start to lose their business. So anytime, so that's kind of an objection in a way. It's like you're mentoring a coach, they start building, and then they stop. I've seen it with some of you guys. I won't say which ones specifically, where you're excited, you're going and going, and then you put a stop on it in a way. Like I'm going to hold off, or I'm not sure I can do this, and it's a fear. It's nothing to do with the price. It's nothing to do with the compensation plan. It's always a fear. Some fear you have, whether it's you think you're too shy, or you think you're not organized enough, or you're fear you don't have enough time, or fear you're going to take the time from your 6 kids that you already have, Raven, right? There's all these different, I just made that up. Raven didn't tell me that. I'm just saying that. But it's always going to be a fear. So helping out people understand, like you as a coach need to begin to study that, understand that about yourself, and understand that about other people. Like there was a time early in my career as a Beachbody coach where I began to self-sabotage in a way, and I didn't even know why I was doing it. But like my whole life, I struggled with things. I was a Coke addict in my early 20s, and alcoholic, like a musician almost my whole life. And so like I always felt like I disappointed my parents, that I was never good enough. So all of a sudden this Beachbody thing comes, and I have this hard drive. I could play the guitar well, I can draw well, I can do all these things. I'm always good at putting 100% in doing things. So Beachbody comes, I put all of that in, bam. And now all of a sudden I make $100,000 a year, right? And I've never made more than $35,000. What do I begin to do? I don't feel worthy of that inside, even though I have it and I've created it. So I begin to do habits without even thinking about it to self-sabotage myself, because I don't feel worthy of that. Does that make sense? That's human behavior. So it's beginning to really understand human behavior is what's going to help you guys understand people and understand objections more, and more importantly about yourself, so that you don't do that to yourself, so that you don't do something like that sabotages yourself, some limiting belief you have, some fear you have about, and it comes from our past and it's who we are, but we can change that. So I would really work on studying that. And that's probably been the biggest thing for me, objection wise, is learning how to understand people and the objections they give you. So, okay. Well, I heard the kids close the door, so I got to get back to them.
Okay. All right. I think that's everything.
Okay. I'm excited. You guys, it's nighttime for you guys, so let me get some sleep.
Yeah.
And I'll take a look.
8 hours.
Yeah, you're 8 hours. You're a brand new mom, so we'll let it pass.
No, I have to have it. Like, it's a good job she sleeps well. Otherwise, I don't know what the devil I'd do.
I know what that's like. I'm an avid napper, so that you guys know. Most days, like I'm a solid hour or 2 hour napper now. Funny joke before I let you go. When I was leaving my job, everybody was like, Scotty's retiring. Like, it's not retiring. I'm working more than I did. It's just something I love, so it doesn't feel like work. But I remember everybody's like, what are you going to do now that you're retired? And I was like, I'm going to sleep 8 hours every 24 hours, no matter what. If I sleep 6 hours at night for some reason, then I have a scheduled 2 hour nap the next day. If I sleep 5 hours for some reason, I'm taking a 3 hour nap. But no matter what, I'm sleeping 8 hours a day. And so if you want to know what I'm doing as a retired man, I'm sleeping 8 hours a day. So that's me. Now you know a little bit more about me. Avid napper. I'll be taking some naps in London, like power naps, like 20 minutes, pop up, and I'll be back down in the lobby.
Cool. All right. Thank you. See you later, everyone.
Some good rest. Bye.
Bye.